My wife constantly tells me how she's feeling if she's upset with me, and I always listen and then apologize and try not to do it again. So, first of all, I would want to have the conversation, James, with her because she is making one of the cardinal sins for, to use this to be exaggeratory. And that is for her to expect that you're going to know how she feels. We've already had that conversation. She's low and you're low in social and emotional intelligence. That doesn't make you dumb. It's just the way your brain is wired. And by the way, when I say low in social and emotional intelligence, that's not a criticism. You're probably smarter than me. And where would we be without, so you're wired a particular way, and where would we be without those brains? We wouldn't even have this computer here. We wouldn't have the engineers that we have. And that opens up a bunch of worms, a bunch of cans of worms, because if we didn't have these engineers, now we wouldn't have the spacecraft and the architecture that we have. I mean, so when I say you're low in social and emotional intelligence, that's not an indictment about you. It's just simply a statement that you're wired differently and you're super high in logic. She's the inverse of that. Ken says, yeah, my wife can be logic too. So I'm not saying they don't have any logic,
Right.
but they have a lot of social and emotional intelligence, and they expect you to be able to, when they're not educated about this business, they expect you to be up there with her. It's like I come home and my dog, who has thousands and thousands of more neurons in his nose than I do, and he goes, how can you not smell that Ken was just here? He walked in the door. I can smell that he touched the doorknob. He walked to the refrigerator. I can smell every step that he made. He then walked over here and sat on that couch right there, and I can smell exactly where he sat. And then he read that magazine. I can smell his scent on the magazine. How come you don't get that? And this is when James apologizes, because now he feels like a dumbass. So it's the same thing as, well, how come you don't understand how I feel? And then she probably says to James, well, I feel this way about that. And then she expects James to take how she feels and apply it to some task he's supposed to be. Not going to get that. So that was a long way around the bush, James, to plug in the thing today, the script. And here it goes. James is talking to his wife. When it's expected of me to understand how somebody else feels, it creates a problem for me because the way my brain is wired, I have a mental block. I'm not purposely trying to be insensitive. I just am not as good about knowing how you feel. You're much better at knowing how I feel because your brain is wired better than mine in that regard. Would it be okay if in the future you just spoke to me in terms of what you need rather than how you feel? Would it be okay if you just came right out point blank and told me what to do, what you wanted me to do, rather than making me try to read your mind or read your emotions or guess what it is that you need? That would be an example of this script using James' scenario where he is trying to appeal to his wife, please don't set me up for failure by hoping that I'm going to understand how you feel. And then you're upset with me when I don't get it. And then I got to apologize and pretend like it was my fault so that apology, quite honestly, is not even honest. And I'm not blaming you, James. You're apologizing just to get her from, to stop being upset. I'm guessing that she's probably sick of your apologies. So I think you need to stop that. Don't apologize because, well, you don't understand how I feel. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better. You can't do better. And your apology means nothing. I hear oftentimes from the NT wives, he doesn't get it and then he keeps apologizing and his apology means nothing. I'm sorry means nothing. So I'm guessing, James, in the case with your wife, your I'm sorry's probably mean nothing to her at this point. I would just stop playing that game altogether and use this script instead. It's not just your fault. It's her fault too, at least 50% of the time. Yeah, that's a stunner, isn't it? That's a real shocker. You mean she causes 50% of the problems? Yeah, she does. Not that she has malicious intent. We're back to this, she's high in social emotional intelligence and you're not. And so she's coming at you with her good message that gets lost because she's coming at you in a way that you don't understand, which raises your anxiety, which makes you shut down or meltdown. So she's definitely contributing to the problem in that way. And she's not going to listen to you, Andrew. She's just going to, if you try to tell her what I would tell her, She's just going to think that you're just being rude and insensitive and selfish and uncaring and narcissistic. But she might listen to somebody, wouldn't necessarily have to be me. She might listen to somebody that she views as having some credibility. And there might be some other guys in here that are running into that. It's like she is not going to be moved or budged. She thinks it's mostly, if not entirely, my fault. And it wouldn't matter what I say or what I do. It's never going to be good enough. And she's never going to take ownership of some of the things that she's doing. Take the high road and use these strategies that we've talked about. She gives you her side of things and you go, no, that's wrong. She gives you her side of things, her perspective, how she feels, yada. And you go, no. This is what's really going on. Here's the real problem. And this is something. And then you always do this back and forth shit has got to stop. You follow these strategies that we've talked about. If she doesn't like it and complaining about you and that it's all your fault, you need to disengage from that conversation. It's not a shutdown, it's a timeout. And you can even say, okay, well, this conversation isn't really going anywhere right now. Constructively, I'm going to take a timeout and I'll come back when you're calm and we'll discuss it. That's not a shutdown. It'll look like a shutdown to her. And she might even accuse you of shutting down. But you have said before you left to go to the other end of the house, you've said, I'm going to take a timeout because my anxiety is coming up, and you know how that usually ends when my anxiety is high. I'm going to do you a favor and go take a time out and calm down. And then I will come back and we will discuss this. Hey, this is Mark Hutten. Would you like to schedule a one-on-one Zoom call? Okay, it's so simple. Just look under any of my videos in the description area. Click on this Calendly link. Now you see my calendar. Pick your month, your day, anytime that's available. Enter your name and email address. Then you'll get a follow-up email with the Zoom link on the day and time that you picked. And voila! We will talk.